Hello everybody. So it has been a long time since I have gone live, but here I am because today definitely warrants some extra attention on everything because Dungeons and Dragons and the people at Wizards have dropped a literal bombshell on all of us with the announcement of both the full One D&D platform and concept, as well as the release of the new Unearthed Arcana 2022 Character Origins, which is the start of what we were calling originally, I think it was D&D Evolved, but it's going to be functionally 5.5 or 5e Enhanced or whatever you want to call it. So I thought it would be a good idea today to, take a hard look at this and, well, not a hard look, take a first look at it and get some first impressions. So I'm not going to be looking directly at the camera a lot because I am reading this as we go along. I haven't read it yet, so let's dive into this. So we have Unearthed Arcana 2022 Character Origins by Jeremy Crawford with Christopher Perkins and Ray Winninger. So this is the first document they're releasing for what's going to be the new Player's Handbook coming in 2024. And it uses all the rules from the 2014 Player's Handbook except where noted. Makes sense? So inside here we will find character races, so the race options that are being considered for the Player's Handbook, character backgrounds, let's see here. Fun role your character's background is going to play in helping flesh out your character's origin. Starting languages, makes sense. Feats. Every first level feat mentioned therein appears in the feats section, which contains new and revised feats. Rules glossary, so new rules as needed. And let's see here. Before delving into these options, please read this is playtest material. So basically, for those unfamiliar with playtest material, because it's been a long time since D&D's done this on this scale, this means that everything that's going to be coming out may or may not make it into the final game. And that anything that does survive, whether it actually gets to the game in that format, totally different story. Now, I hope everybody can hear me. Seems like my mic's working. All right. I'm going to carry on. No one said that I'm quiet yet. So, we have... Let's see here. Determining your origin. All right. After choosing your character's class. Well, that's interesting. So you choose your class first. At least that's the implication here. Then you flesh out where you're from. So that's a bit of a new move. So to help answer these questions, you will choose 3 things for your character. A race, a background, and a language. Okay. Character origin overview. So it has race traits and then a description of them. So creature type, size, speed, lifespan, special traits. All pretty straightforward. Background trait. So ability score bonus, skill proficiencies, tool proficiency, a language, a feat, and some of your beginning equipment. So that's an interesting way to divide it. So your race and background together help bring your character's backstory into focus, distinguish the characters from other members of the same class. Yeah, it makes sense, and it looks like they're trying to do some more differentiation between the different groups here. Between different characters. That's okay. Let's see here. Character races. When you choose character's race, determine blah, 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 blah. Children of different humanoid kinds. Okay. So this is something that D&D's traditionally struggled with half orcs, half elves, and so on and so forth, having a lot of negative connotations around them. And they've never really had good mixing or hybridization rules before. So looks like they're diving into something new here. So magical works of the multiverse. Humanoids of different kinds can have children together. Yeah, makes sense. For example, folk who have a human parent and an orc or elf parent are particularly common. Okay, so they're saying those are still the 2 most common. Many combinations are possible. If you'd like to play the child in such a wondrous pairing, choose 2 race options that are humanoid to represent your parents. Then determine which of those options provides your game traits. So that's your size, speed, special traits that we talked about. And then mix and match visual characteristics. Okay. And then the final note here is for lifespans. So to figure out how long you might live, get an average between the 2 lifespans if they're radically different. So what this is telling me is that D&D has simultaneously stepped up and backed away towards characters with mixed lineages. They've stepped up in the sense that they are now saying, yeah, anything that's humanoid can get with anything that's humanoid and produce offspring, which is within the D&D paradigm is something that's been happening forever. However, they've backed away completely from any actual hybridization. So basically, if you say that your character's parents are a human and a dragonborn, reading what I'm getting from this is that you would basically be playing a human that kind of has some dragonborn cosmetic features, but no actual dragonborn abilities. Or you would be playing a dragonborn character with some human cosmetic features. So that's the stepping away from it. I have to say, still much prefer the system that Green Ronin came up with in their game Fantasy Age, because they actually went for a more true hybridization, and that, if you chose, say, human and elf or human and orc or whatever, it actually mixed and matched the traits between the two, and I think that's a way more interesting way to approach it. But that's the route that they've gone here. So humans, first race in it, found throughout the multiverse. Okay, so they're going into the multiverse as a baseline. That is an interesting choice. And going through here, annals of history, art, blah, 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 blah. Oh, humans are diverse in appearance. Scholars dispute the origin of humanity, but one of the earliest known human gatherings is said to have occurred at Sigil, the tortoise-shaped city at the center of the multiverse, and the place from where the common tongue is born. So it sounds like that Planescape book that they announced that's coming out next fall is going to be playing a major part in this, at least off of the initial assessment I'm getting just reading through this with the rest of you, because Sigil is the core component of Planescape, and releasing Planescape and then moving into this, you can see where they're pushing with it. And humans, pretty standard stat line, the usual versatile, skillful, all that sort of stuff. Next up is the Ardling. Pardon me, and the Ardling is a celestial anthro, or furry, or scaly if you prefer. So it looks like they are replacing, they've removed the half elf and the half orc from the standard list, and it looks like they're moving some other stuff in to fill the voids to keep that number up, now that they've determined it's a different way of establishing your backgrounds like that. Let's see here. Next up we have, and they get celestial legacies. So they have exalted, heavenly, and idyllic. And it gives a selection of animals that they suggest that you be looking like. Cats, eagles, elephants, owls, dogs, ravens, toads. Okay, so a nice selection there. And then it gives your first, third, and fifth level feats that you develop, which are pretty cool looking. Like if you take heavenly, you get light at level 1, cure wounds at level 3, or sorry, not feats, I guess these are just your abilities. Cure wounds, and then zone of truth at level 5, that's pretty cool. Damage resistance to radiant damage, and then it looks like at the end of every description they're having X race of whatever, of many worlds, so they have a little blurb on how they fit into maybe different worlds and how they may be perceived in different places. Dragonborn are looking pretty standard. It's interesting though, looks like they've rolled back the revised storyline to them, their lore, and they've gone back to them being hatched from the eggs of actual dragons, which is a little bit closer to the original, like, 3rd edition approach that they took with these guys, where they were actually like people who were called by Bahamut as non-draconic races, encapsulated in an egg, and then they hatch. And now it looks like they're just sort of from regular dragon eggs. I wonder how dragons feel about that. So Dragonborn looking wingless bipedal dragons. Yeah, all the usual stuff, usual colors. Yeah, the comment here, but no Azamar. Yep, yeah, it's true. Yeah, and they have revised the breath weapon again. A few new rules for it. Looks like you can use it a few more times a day. That's nice. Dark vision, of course, draconic language, Dragonborn in many worlds. Dwarves, resilient like the mountains. Dwarves were raised from the earth in the elder days by the deity of the forge. So this is something I'm noticing right away, is that like 5th edition really backed away from a lot of the divine aspects of the game, and now I'm seeing like more overt mentions of them, like they're the gods are an actual part of the game again, as opposed to like being a, are they gods, are they not, godlike beings, as they use the term a couple times. So yeah, oldest legends tell the monsters of the mountaintops of the Underdark, supernatural horrors. Yeah, dwarves are being dwarves. Size medium, so dwarves are 4 to 5 feet tall. 30 foot speed, nice. Lifespan, dark vision, dwarven resilience, dwarven toughness. Okay, forge wise. So it looks like they've turned some of the stuff that used to be like specific to different types of dwarves, or used to be considered like just a genetic thing, is now divine. So your divine creator gave them an uncanny affinity for working with stone or metal, so you get tool proficiency with that. Yeah, so good comment. I did, yeah, children of different humanoid kinds. It's a good box, and I appreciate it because they're saying like anything can get with anything now, so that sort of unloads a lot of stuff. But as I said just earlier in the broadcast, they really backed away from actually making any cool mechanics for it, because you're basically either cosmetically look a little bit like something, but all your stat lines are from one parent, and that just kind of takes a little bit of the fun out of it for me. You know, like I want to see something cool, like, you know, if I'm mixing like dragonborn with lizard folk or something like that, and I want to see something cool result out of that, as opposed to just like a dragony looking lizard or a slightly lizardy looking dragonborn. Yeah, forge wise, yeah, it definitely feels cultural, but it looks like they are moving to a more divine aspect to things. And then stone cunning as a bonus action. They get tremor sense. That's cool. So they're really getting into the whole subterranean thing for dwarves here. Tremor sense was one of my favorite things back in 3rd edition, and it's definitely it's cool to see it back, and you can do it as a bonus action. So that's pretty cool. And dwarves of many worlds. Let's see here. Elves, created by the god Corlon. So yeah, definitely leaning hard into that. That divine creation thing here going on. Let's see here. Exiled them forever, finding other. Okay, this is So like a while ago, back when like Mordenkainen's dropped, I wrote a whole post called elves we need and elves we don't. And it was dug into the big lore changes they did, and it looks like they're changing the lore again. So created by the god Corlon, the first elves could change their physical forms at will. The elves lost this ability when Corlon exiled them from Arvindor for plotting with another elven deity named Lolth, who tried and failed to usurp his dominion, or Corlon's dominion. When Lolth was cast down into the abyss, most elves renounced her treachery and earned Corlon's forgiveness, but that which Corlon had taken from the elves was lost forever. Wow. So Corlon is getting worse and worse. Like every time I read about something from Corlon as a god, they're just more horrible. Because now they're saying, now it reads as though he just decided that they just decided, got to get that right, my mistake. They just decided that all elves must be on Lolth's side, and just took away everyone's shape changing. And then was just like, yeah, I took it away. That ain't coming back. Good luck. So no longer able to shapeshift at will, they retreated into the Feywild, where their sorrow was deepened by that plane's influence. Now they're getting gothy. Okay. Over time, wanderlust and curiosity led many to explore the planes of existence, eventually leading to the material plane. They take on characteristics of the environments in which they are bounded: drought of the Underdark, high elves of Fey crossings, material plane, wood elves to forest, blah, blah, blah. Elves are blessed with long lives from birth. They don't sleep but go into a trance. Elves are aware of their surrounding while immersing themselves in their memory. What an elf remembers during his reverie depends entirely on how long they've lived and the events that shaped their existence. And then just like, elves have pointed ears? No way. And are light on their feet. So elves are taller now. They're now 5 to 6 feet tall. 750 years. Dark vision. Elven lineage. So that gives them some abilities. We'll get out of those in a minute. So they've got Fey ancestries. So they're leaning into the Fey end of it. Again, keen senses. That's been standard for years in D&D. The trance thing. Yep. So lineages. They give Drow. Their first level, they get a dark vision increase to 120. They can also cast Dancing Lights. Then at 3rd level they get Fairy Fire, and at 5th level they get Darkness. High Elves get Prestidigitation as a cantrip. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace that cantrip with a different cantrip from the arcane spell list. So they get sort of rotating cantrips. That's kind of interesting. And then Detect Magic and Misty Step. Okay, at 3rd and 5th. Wood Elves get a speed increase to 35 feet, and you know the Druidcraft cantrip. 3rd level they get Long Strider, and 5th level they get Pass Without Trace. 35 feet, that feels short to me. I think they should have bumped it up a little higher to that. Like something like that's not a hugely significant increase to speed there. I do like that they basically disappear into the woods, though, with those abilities. Let's see here. Elves of Many Worlds. So it talks about all 3 different types of presented elves. High, Drow, and Wood. And the different presentations. But I'm not seeing a weakness, pardon me, against sunlight, which is something they used to have. So that's gone. So that's interesting. Now, let's see what else we got here. Moving up to our next one, Gnomes. Magical folk created by the gods. Yeah, so gods they're back at work in D&D. At least they are in this playtest. Let's see here. Secret of Nature. They live in sylvan forests, hillside burrows, and sprawling warrens under the mountains. Oh, cool. So they're competing with dwarves for space. That's fun. Okay. Sorry, I just need something to wet my whistle there. Okay, so Garl Gitterglow. Yep, it's got their gods still. Gnomes are petite folk with big eyes, pointed ears, and wistful imaginations, harkening back to a time when their ancestors hid in tunnels and under thick forest canopies. Many gnomes like the feeling of a roof over their head, even if that roof is nothing more than a hat. There's going to be a lot of fan art of gnomes and some pretty wild hats. That's what I get from that. So they're small, 30 feet. Looks like is everything getting 30 feet? Did humans get 30 feet? Oh, I haven't got humans yet. Oh, yeah, no, humans were first. Yeah, 30. Yeah, everybody's going 30 feet. Okay. They get dark vision, like everyone. Yeah. Wait, no, that's dwarves. Where are they? There we are, gnomes. Yeah, they get dark vision. Never mind. Gnomish cunning. They have advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. Okay, that's interesting. Gnomish lineage. So you get to pick forest, rock. That's it. Forest or rock, your choice. So, forest gnomes get the minor illusion cantrip, and you can cast Speak with Animals with that trait. You can cast the trait a number of times, so you get a proficiency bonus. And rock gnomes get mending and prestidigitation. In addition, you get 10 minutes cast. Wow. To create a tiny clockwork device, such as a toy, fire starter, or a music box, so they can create stuff with it. That's cool. You have to spell this way. It consumes 10 gold pieces worth of raw material, which you provide during the casting. When you create this device, you determine its function by choosing one effect of prestidigitation. And you can make 3 of them at a time. And each one dismantles itself 8 hours after its creation. Okay. So basically create little clockwork helpers that last for 8 hours. So rock gnomes, at least the vibe that I'm getting is that rock gnomes are basically replacing the Tinker Gnome concept. So, okay. Oh yeah, it even says that down here. Gnomes. Is that, yeah, Kryn, the Tinker Gnomes. Yeah, it literally says Tinker Gnomes. Halflings. Ugh. Sorry, I'm not a halfling fan. But here they are. They're going to be here forever. Let's see here. Yeah, Bucolic Haven's family. They're hobbits. They're still hobbits. They've always been hobbits. They're always going to be. Yeah, still have their gods. So something that both gnomes and halflings have in common is their deities are read to be at least far more active than everybody else's in their lives. Small, 30 feet. Blah, blah, blah. You're brave. You have advantage on saving throws. You make to avoid or end the frightened condition. That's cool. Let's see here. Halfling nimbleness. You're nimble. Luck. Basically reroll ones. I can deal with that. Naturally stealthy. You have proficiency in stealth. Okay. Halflings of many worlds. Oh, So yeah, halflings. There's no variations of halflings. You're just halfling. That's it. Yeah, yeah. That is very correct there. That is an interesting wording change. So I'm just reading the comments here. It is an interesting wording change, and I am curious about that. Next up, orcs. Okay, so orcs are now a standard play race for D&D. That's honestly overdue. Um, let's see what they have to say about orcs. So yeah, created by Grumsh, one-eyed warrior, armed his children with certain gifts so they could thrive on worlds beset by monsters, which actually makes them sound kind of cool, as opposed to usual Grumsh, like just creating them to kill. Pardon me. Oh, haven't talked this much in a long time. Let's see here. One-eyed god bestows might, endurance, determination, and the ability to see in the dark. It's a pretty good super soldier package. On average, tall and broad, they have gray skin, ears that are small and slightly pointed, and prominent lower canines that resemble small tusks. Young orcs are often told about their ancestors' ancient conflicts with elves in the forest, dwarves under the mountains, and invaders from evil planes of existence. Inspired by those tales, young orcs wonder when Grumsh will call them to match the heroic deeds of their ancestors. Okay, so it looks like Grumsh One Eye is getting a bit of a glow up here. It's not reading as bad as it used to. Like he's honestly reading more as a sort of like paternal warrior deity as opposed to the blood crazed monster that he's usually portrayed as, who throws his people into battle the same way Hag threw troops into the meat grinder in World War One. So that's decent. Okay, their lifespan's longer, 80 years. That's nice. As an orc, you get to see these special traits: adrenaline rush. All right, dark vision, like everyone else. Powerful build. You count as one size larger for when determining your carrying capacity. Okay, and relentless endurance. When you're reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can drop to 1 hit point instead. Once you use this trait, you can't do so again until you have a long rest. Pardon me. That's cool. That's cool. I like that. That's an interesting go on it. Orcs of many worlds. Let's see here. Yeah, so it mentions King Obold, many arrows of Toril. Eberron, orcs were natural order. Okay. Tieflings or Tieflings. From the lower plains. Oh, there we go. Pronounced Tiefling. So they're specific now. I guess I can't say Tiefling anymore. Tiefling. Linked by blood to a demon, devil, or Yogoloth. Or other fiend. Okay. It's fiendish legacies. Tiefling chooses to either embrace or lament their fiendish legacy. Those 3 legacies are Abyssal, Chthonic, and Infernal. So, yeah, Infernal. But yeah, so that's pretty straightforward. Chthonic, though, let's see. So the Chthonic one is interesting. So that's the Yogoloth ancestry, and includes night hags in it as well, or neutral, evil, fiendish ancestors. So that's kind of interesting. A bit more of an underworld vibe to them as opposed to, some variation of hell. That's cool. That's cool. I'm down with that. Now, let's see here. Tiefling traits. Oh. Okay, you can choose medium or small now. So you got a choice. That's cool. 100-year lifespan, dark vision. Everything's got dark vision. I miss like low light and dark vision. I like having that distinguishment, but that's just me. Fiendish legacy, so you get some abilities. So if you're abyssal, you get resistance to poison and no poison spray as a cantrip. That's fun. Chthonic, you have resistance to necrotic damage and no chill touch. So yeah, that's a so the Chthonic one, I'm reading that as being like an undead and afterlife sort of themed tiefling, which is pretty cool. I like that. Infernal, fire damage, firebolt. Oh, firebolt, that's cool. And then you get Hellish Rebuke and Darkness. Chthonics, they get False Life, then Ray of Enfeeblement at level 5. That's nice. And then what do Abyssals get? Ray of Sickness and Whole Person. Okay, so much more thematic abilities with those. So overall, no giant surprises here. I do like that they have divorced biological traits from cultural ones, although they've sort of replaced some of those cultural ones with divinely attributed things. But this is that's a step in the right direction. I'm still disappointed by that mixed background box, but we'll see how that goes. I can understand why they're doing it from a mechanical standpoint, because it makes it very easy. It makes it easier to keep the game simple, but it's also a bit of a hamper on creativity. Although if you want to create half-elves in the flavor of like Elrond from Lord of the Rings, that's actually doable now. So build your background. Oh, build your background. Okay. Using the rules here, you can build a background from scratch or customize a pre-made background focusing on details related to your backstory that you have in mind for your character. When you build a background, your character gains features from the background feature section below, or you can just take a pre-made one, then it gives you a whole bunch of who, what, where, when, why questions to ask when you're doing it. So if you're building it yourself, you get a +2 and a +1, or you can put +1 on 3 ability scores. Okay. You get 2 skills, 1 tool proficiency, and 1 language from the standard languages and rare languages tables. And you know that language. Feat. Choose 1 first level feat. Your character gains that feat. And equipment. Your character gains 50 gold pieces on starting equipment and keeps any unspent as spare coin. Okay. So we've got, feats are from your backgrounds, and legacies are more natural ability or spell-like ability. What do we got going on here? Ability score increases from elsewhere. Okay, so there's just a note here that if you're bringing, or if you made a character using a previous methodology, so if you use like the base book or Tasha's Cauldron of Everything or Monsters of the Multiverse or other books, it says here, so I suspect there's some more of this coming, that you just keep those scores and don't change things up to get increases from the new backgrounds, unless you forego those and take the ones from the background. All right. Simple backgrounds. So we've got Acolyte, Artisan, Charlatan, Criminal, Cultist. Oh, that's fun. That's I can see a lot of people taking Cultist and having way too much fun with that. Entertainer, Farmer, Guard, Gladiator, Guide. I'm not sure the Gladiator. Oh, okay. So now so these are examples, thankfully, but they're definitely casting some guidance our way again. So in the past, in previous editions, when I talk about the game trying to guide you to do certain things, it's that they'll say gnomes are naturally good at this, and they'll write up about gnomes, and then they'll back that up by having like gnome specific everything peppered through 1 or 2 classes or subclasses or something like that. And it all sort of like pushes you towards making what I call like generic characters or predictable characters. And this is sort of happening here because for Artisan, it has ability scores +2 intelligence, +1 charisma. Cool. Skill proficiencies, investigation, persuasion. That's cool. 2 proficiency, Artisan's tools. Makes good choice. Then language, gnomish. And then like for cultist, language abyssal. Charlatan, language infernal. Gladiator, language orc. Farmer, language halfling. So this is some like low-key world building that's happening, and some unfortunate guidance. Like there shouldn't be, like, why would a guide speak giant? You know, or why would a noble speak draconic? Why are laborers speaking dwarvish? Like, this is, yeah, that's not cool. I don't like that. Yeah, and it just goes through. Like, sailor speaks primordial. So what does soldiers speak? Goblin. Why? Yeah, that's not good. Like, the only one here that's sort of non-problematic is urchins. The language they get is common sign language, which is thematically appropriate for quick, quiet communication between yourselves. So, like, that's yeah, but yeah, the rest of them, that's not on. Yeah, it is weird, and absolutely, yeah, that should say any language. Because this is what's going to start pushing people towards doing certain things with certain races. Yeah, another good comment. Yeah, why is sign language option available for common, not other things? That's entirely reasonable. Okay, so what do we got here? Standard languages: common, common sign language, dwarvish, elvish, giant, gnomish, goblin, halfling, and orc. Why are they including goblin when there's no goblins in this? Like, there's hobgoblins and goblins and bugbears aren't in the background. So why does that be a common language? Like, everything else is there. Like, there's halflings, there's orcs, there's gnomes. Same thing with giants. Like, why is giant there? So that's either an oversight, or or this is an incomplete. Well, it is playtest material, but or it's an incomplete list of potential player races. I'd love to see half giants and goblins and stuff as options. That'd be cool. Let's see here. Rare languages: abyssal, celestial, deep space. Yeah, draconic, druid. Heretic, infernal, primordial, sylvan, thieves' cant, undercommon. Oh, so the thieves' cant is a rare language. Why would urchins not have thieves' cant instead of common sign language? Yeah, okay, yeah, that is falling apart. Okay, parts of a feat. Okay, so I love feats. I've loved feats ever since I was introduced to them in 3rd edition. I love them over in Pathfinder. I love what they've done with them in the 2nd edition. And a lot of this, especially like the level up abilities, really feels very Pathfindery to me. Although with Pathfinder, there's sort of like, there's trees within trees for your development, but this one is very linear. But I do like the fact that feats are back. There's just notes here for what level you have to be to take feat, what prerequisites you need. So that's the feat tree or feat line. And then you have whether or not it's repeatable. So whether or not it's something you can do continuously. Okay. Healers, musicians, magic initiate. Well, magic initiate's kind of fun. You can learn the basics of a particular magic tradition, yeah. Choose one spell list: arcane, divine, or prime. Oh, so that's a big tell right there. So we have division again. So this is one of the things I loved in 4th edition was I had different sources of power for different types of magic, and it looks like that's back here. So we have arcane magic, divine magic, and primal magic. That's cool. I dig that. So it's amazing what you can extrapolate out of just reading through some stuff here. We've got musicians, savage attacker. That's pretty straightforward. Tavern brawler, tough. Okay, so it's a very short list of feats. They're all level 1 feats. I guess as they assume you're not going to be playing There'll be more playtest material out fairly quickly. Rules glossary, arcane spells, ambient magic, the multiverse. So that's bards, sorcerers, and warlocks and wizards, and artificers. Okay. So that's arcane artisans, tools, creature types. So we have aberrations, beasts, celestials, constructs, dragons, elements, fae, fiends, giants, humanoids, monstrosities, oozes, plants, and undead. I never like humanoid. Is never a fan of seeing humanoid as a creature type. They it can lead to nasty stuff if you're not on top of it. D20 test. Okay, so yeah, this is mechanics, rolling D20, critical hits, weapons and unarmed strike. Okay, divine spells draw on the power of the gods and the outer planes. Clerics and paladins harness this magic. For partial list of divine spells, see spell lists. Okay. Grappled. Still fighting with those grappling rules. I love it. Incapacitated. That selects conditions. So it's inspiration, long rest, musical instrument. Primal spells draw on the forces of nature and the inner plane and the inner planes. Okay. Druids and rangers harness this magic for partial list of primal. So they're really dividing. So like the outer planes, that's like your astral plane, ethereal plane, all that sort of stuff. The inner planes are like the elemental planes and stuff like that. So this is cool. At least that's how it used to be. So that's how they're going with this. Druids are about to be a lot more terrifying than they were. And they were already fairly terrifying. Tool proficiency, unarmed strike. Yeah. Damage, bludgeoning equal to 1 plus your strength modifier. Okay. Spell lists. So we've got 0 level spells and level 1 spells here. Arcane spells, that's very straightforward. If you've seen the spell lists in D&D, it's pretty much all the level 1 spells and cantrips. Divine spells, same boat. Primal spells. Okay, Shillelagh, yeah. Level 1 spells, okay. Well, the primal spells are a little bit disappointing. I'd hope to see more elemental stuff in it, like more fire, lightning, ice, that sort of thing. Like a little bit of cross-pollination between that and the arcane spells. But looks like they're just sticking with the sort of like generic, more woodlands and fae-inspired spells for that. And that takes us to the end of it. So that's all 21 pages of this document. So there's no classes or anything else like that. So if you're using this, then it's going to be used for... So, hang on a second, I've got a comment here. The grapple conditions certainly got some more specific wording than 5e's. Yeah, it does. It's much better worded. But as I was saying, so using this for character origins, this is for creating a level 1 character. This will take you through you're selecting your race and your abilities thereof, your background, and figuring all that good stuff out. And then, at least right now, after this, it would go into the standard 5e book materials. So, yeah, there's a lot to digest here. I think that my big takeaways are that we're seeing a mild return of some of the better parts of 4th edition. And I know a lot of people, like anyone who knows me knows that I have low opinion of 4th edition, but there were some good parts. And it looks like they're salvaging more of those good parts and introducing them into here. Which is actually very similar to what Pathfinder did when they went to Pathfinder 2nd edition. So yeah, it looks like they're doing that. So they're introducing what are functionally like level-based racial abilities. So like as you progress in levels, you'll develop more natural magics and abilities for those who have that option. And then with your background, that's where they've shunted all your ability score modifiers. So I think that probably in the next sets, we're going to get more natural abilities to help differentiate the different player races from one another. It's interesting that they're still using the word race. I am disappointed in that that initial box there. Like I had high hopes for children of different humanoid kinds. Like Fantasy Age did such a great job, and it's right there. And it'd be so easy to port that over to D&D, but nope, no such luck. And I think that the selection of base player races is good. It's a minor variation on what's available in the core book now. I do think that they should include more things like goblins and lizard folk should definitely be included. See here, did you listen to the Kendrick Crawford interview attached to this for some kind of reasoning? I haven't watched that yet. I suspect that some of the reasoning behind this, of course, though, having not watched that yet, I suspect some of the reasoning behind this is streamlining. They're adding a level of complexity to the game with the let's see your comments here. They erased half orc and half elf. They just can't let go of this legacy. Yeah, they can't let them go. And yeah, they did. Well, they sort of erased half elf and half orc. They're still there. It's just you have it's a note now in your background or on your sheet saying that, you know, mom was an orc and dad was a human. And you basically you pick one of those parents to be your to provide you with all of your in-game stats and information, and then just cosmetically apply the other parent to it. So, yeah, it's I think it's a weak move. I think they could have done better. I like that orcs are in here, but I think that if they're including languages like goblin and giant, there should be some sort of goblin or giant player race to choose from. So yeah, as far as like playtest rules go, I give this a solid B as a grade. It's a B rank. There's some good ideas in here, and I can see the logic behind some of it, which is mostly streamlining. As I was saying earlier, I think that they're streamlining stuff specifically because they're adding in race-based feat lineage abilities, and then feats. And so I think they're paring back on complexity in other places, which has benefits and detriments. We'll see how this goes, though. Yeah, so there it is. That is my my live review of these playtest rules. So if you haven't grabbed them yet, they're available for free through D&D Beyond. Just have to log in to get them. You can get them, take a look at them, determine your own thoughts, obviously. And I believe they were saying September 1st is when they're opening up responses. So you can go in and let them think what you know. So that's one of the things this indicates to me, is that whatever happens with this next not edition of D&D is that it's going to be another form of D&D by consensus. So they're going to be taking all the information that floods in, figuring out what the means and averages are, and then aiming for those. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me. It's been great going live again. Take care, hydrate, stay safe.